What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into Week 8. Yeah, it's already Week 8 NFL Power Rankings. That's pretty crazy to me, but let's dive right into it here after another crazy week of upsets and just nonsense, to be honest with a lot of you guys. But anyway, let's get into this bad tier here. Starting out with the worst team, and that's still going to be the Panthers, staying here at the same spot. Coming off the bye week, we can see if this team can figure some things out this week. But yeah, they're still the worst team in football, the only winless team so far. But then 31, dropping down a spot, we have the Cardinals, and it's just kind of felt, the Cardinals have been relatively competitive score-wise, but if you watch the Cardinals the past few weeks, it just feels like this team is just kind of done right now. I mean, their friskiness is just kind of done. The lack of talent just catching up with them on both sides of the ball. We'll see if this team can maybe do something with a quarterback like Kyler Murray coming back. We know that Kyler Murray is a good quarterback, so he could elevate this team. But yeah, the team's still very young. It's still a big rebuild. Buda Baker comes back this week isn't enough to do anything against Seattle. So the Cardinals just were not the better team. Even with like 3 turnovers that the Seahawks had in that game, Cardinals just couldn't do anything with them. Only scored like 3 points off 3 turnovers. So yeah, Arizona, their friskiness, I think, is kind of gone. So right now, I think that I was actually pretty close to putting the Panthers above them, but I'm going to give it to Arizona right now because they've been a little bit more of a frisky team. But then 30, we have the Chicago Bears jumping up a spot. 2 and 5. If it wasn't a week where a bunch of these 1 and 5 teams won, we could have seen the Bears coming up more. But geez, Tyson Badgett, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, dude. Dude was balling out all of that game. They deserve to come ahead of the Cardinals for that one. The defense played a lot better, really made things difficult for that Raiders offense without Jimmy G. So, yeah, the Bears, man, great week for them, really offensively. Played really good. I was not expecting that kind of performance from either of those groups, offensively and defensively. So really good week. We'll see. I have no idea when Justin Fields is coming back. Maybe it is next week. And as much as I like Tyson Badgett, he is not the quarterback for the Bears. I mean, maybe he is because Justin Fields has been question mark too. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Chicago. They come in there at number 30. 29, we're going to have the New York Giants. Actually going to be dropping down a spot here because I think a team deserves to come ahead of them. But the Giants this week, notice also 4 NFC teams coming off the board. We're going to get to these AFC teams in a minute. But anyway, the Giants getting a win against the Commanders this week. Just defensively, this team is back. Played really good against the Commanders. Really got after Sam Howell in that game. So that's what you like to see if you're a Giants fan. Then offensively, Tyrod Taylor is doing enough. He's playing better than I think Daniel Jones has this season. Saquon Barkley coming back is big too. He's obviously making Saquon Barkley plays. So the Giants get a win against the Commanders. This team really, I think, wishes they were 3 and 4 at this point, but they're 2 and 5, and they're just gonna have to live with that. So that's where the Giants are gonna come in. All right, number 27, we have the Green Bay Packers here, going to be dropping down 9 spots this week. The biggest drop down of any team. I'm just done really backing up the Packers as a playoff tier team. That's where I really had them for a lot of this week, but I'm just done with that. Green Bay, Jordan Love has really regressed the past few games. He did not look good against the Raiders, and he did not play well a couple days ago on Sunday against Denver. He just did not. He was not good. Let's be honest. He was not good. He needs to be better than that. And then the defense for the Packers, I just hate Joe Barry as a defensive coordinator. They're just not making any adjustments. And, yeah, both sides of the ball are just bad right now for Green Bay. They need to figure things out. And then, by the way, the Packers are 27. Don't know if I mentioned that, but 28 is New England. Skipped over them. So the Packers are above the Patriots. Patriots switch with the Giants, come up as well. Sorry for that confusion right now, but New England comes in here at 28. The Patriots this week, get a big win against the Bills. Much more of a competitive team this week under Bill Belichick. That's what you like to see. Mac Jones played a lot better. The offense figured some things out. Still, the Bills were kind of been struggling. We're gonna get to them. I'm not really happy with them right now. But anyway, the Patriots, good bounce back week. When all hope was lost, the Patriots show up. So the Patriots gonna be jumping up a spot. All right, and then 26 we have the Denver Broncos. The Broncos gonna round out this bad tier. Russell Wilson played pretty good in this game against the Packers. Obviously outplayed Jordan Love, which he should anyway. But anyway, the offense needs to get back to, I think, that first 3 weeks offense, the more explosive unit that we were seeing, the deep balls from Russell Wilson. Right now, it just feels like Russell Wilson's running a lot and making a few plays. If they can get back to some good deep ball throws, play action passes, really get Russell Wilson moving where he's not just running from the pocket. This Broncos offense, I think, could be be solid, and the Broncos could maybe turn things around. We saw it last year with the Lions. My preseason analysis on the Broncos has been way off, especially about this defense, but the defense has turned things around. They played a lot better, not like a top unit, but they played better. So the Broncos, I think if the offense can turn things around, this team can be a decent team. They're 2-5 right now. There's still a lot of season left to be played, so there's still a chance for Denver. I feel like I'm more confident with that than about any other team on here, that the Broncos have the highest potential. So to maybe sneak in the playoffs, I'm still kind of holding out for that. So my prediction doesn't look absolutely stupid coming into the year. The Denver Broncos going to be jumping up a spot. Okay, so that is the bad tier. Let's get into the decent tier now here. Starting out with the 25th team, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. At first, I honestly had the Raiders in the bad tier, but I'm going to keep them out because of the Jimmy G injury. Brian Hoyer was just atrocious this week. Jimmy G should be back this week. So with Jimmy G being back, the offense has just played a lot better with him in there. So that's really why I'm going to keep the Raiders into this decent tier, because we know this offense is pretty good. They have some playmakers. It's really with Jimmy G, they're decent. And the defense, I think they're well coached and they're decent. So that's literally the definition of a decent team. That's literally what I think of the Raiders right now, staying at the same spot. But this was a bad week. This was a straight up bad week against the Bears. They got really beat up in this game. And then 24, jumping up 2 spots, we have the Commanders. Washington. Commanders really just jumping up here because of the Packers and I think they deserve to be above the Raiders. Washington just rough week offensively for Sam Howell. It's kind of a stat. They've just been weird week to week, I think. They're looking really solid. They're looking like a potential in the hunt team, and then they look like a bad team. So they're literally like in the middle here at the decent. But the Commanders are just a weird team because their O-line's not great. Their defense has a lot of talent. The offense has a lot of talent. Receivers, receiving weapons. Sam Howell's been playing decent, I say, especially for a first-year guy. This is basically his first year. The Washington Commanders, kind of just a weird team right now, and I'm going to keep them at 24 right there. I also really like what Eric Bieniemy's doing for this offense, even though it didn't show up this week. But, yeah. Moving on here, 23, we have the Tennessee Titans going to be jumping up a spot on the bye week. Our first bye week team, or besides the Panthers, I guess. But anyway, Titans jumping up there just because of the Packers dropping. 22, we have the Houston Texans here going to be staying at 22 this week. Texans on the bye as well, so we won't spend time on them. 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts staying at the same spot. It was a loss this week for Indiana, but it wasn't a bad loss by any means. This team nearly beats a very good Browns team. I mean, Gardner Minshew made the Browns defense in that secondary not like look like the top defense in the league. And the pass rush was getting to him, but other than that, Gardner Minshew played a good game here today. He really bounced back from that poor performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Colts really did a lot of good things offensively this week. Defensively, really let a Browns offense kind of throw all over them. And then obviously the Myles Garrett turnover that went for 6 does not help. But the Colts, I feel a lot more better about them this week than I did last week, even with a loss. So they're just going to be staying put. I think 21's a good spot for them. Okay, let's go to the in the hunt tier here. Starting out with 20, we have the Los Angeles Rams dropping down a spot. The Rams this week get a tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off the bye week. The Steelers coming off the bye week. The Rams just, defensively didn't play great, and just you want to see that be better against a bad Steelers offense. They were really let the Steelers come back in this football game. So that was tough for the Rams there. We know that this defense isn't the best. It has its lack of talent. Obviously, Aaron Donald, but other than him, it's why I had the Rams so low to start out the year, because I just don't like the depth on this team in general. And then the offense, the O-line just got pummeled. They're going up against one of the best defensive lines in the league. It's just a mismatch for the Rams this week. And the Steelers secondary is pretty good too. So I think this was more about what the Steelers did than what the Rams are right now. The Rams, I just don't think were the better team. That's why I picked the Steelers, and that's why I have the Steelers higher in the first place. So the Rams going to come in there at 20. My opinion doesn't really change about them. They're just going to be dropping down one spot. Number 19, we had the Buccaneers dropping down 3 spots here. And when it was looking like the Buccaneers were like the team that's probably going to win the NFC South, they've kind of regressed down to the mean to a team that we kind of anticipated them being, especially on the offense. Baker Mayfield in this offense just was not great this week. I mean, they were average, but it wasn't enough to beat the Falcons. And then the defense couldn't really stop Desmond Ridder unless it came in the red zone in this game. And especially without Bijan, this is a game that the Buccaneers should have won, and they didn't get it done. So that's really discouraging for any Buccaneers fans. They deserve to come down from that. I still think that the Buccaneers are just the definition of an average football team this season, and that's where they come in at 19. 18, jumping up 2 spots here, is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons this week beating the Buccaneers, so they deserve to come ahead of them, I think. Atlanta going into this game, winning this one without Bijan. Bijan, obviously, the injury. Tyler Algier comes in, plays good. Desmond Ridder just has been weird this season. This game, he had a good game in the red zone. That was the one thing that really held the Falcons back in this game. If they were able to play better in the red zone, this could have been a much bigger score than what it was, but they weren't able to. But they got it done. That's all that matters in the National Football League, is that you get it done, and that's what they did against the Buccaneers. So Falcons going to be jumping up 2 spots here. My opinion really doesn't change on them. It's really just because I think they deserve to be above the Buccaneers because of that loss, getting that recognition, and then obviously the Packers. They're a better team than Green Bay. Okay, so that's the there. Let's go to the 17 team. We have the New Orleans Saints staying at the same spot. Competing this week was, whoever the tight end is, bless his heart that he recovered from cancer or whatever and can't catch that. It's just tough, man. Felt bad for him, but sometimes that happens in the NFL, But anyway, that's just unfortunate. The Saints can't score in that red zone to tie that game up, and they lost that football game, sadly. But the Saints, they competed. They don't deserve to come down after that. I think that they're a better team than, Atlanta. The Buccaneers smacked them, but I still think that they're. I think the way the Buccaneers have played the past couple of weeks, they deserve to be ahead of them. So I do think that the Saints are the best team in the NFC South right now. But yeah, it's close. These three teams are side by side right now. It's weird right now, but the Saints, I do think, come in at 17. Okay, number 16, we have the Minnesota Vikings here, jumping up 7 spots here, and they're going to be our first wild card team of the NFC, coming from the decent tier up here. And this is a huge win, man. Jordan Addison looked insane this week. What a week for him. The Vikings defense, I really want to give them their hats off. They played really good against Brock Purdy, and the Niners offense was really getting after Purdy in this one, making him make some mistakes as we saw it. Brian Flores has done an amazing job with that defense this season, which last year was horrible. Honestly, I know the Vikings went 13-4 last season, but I think this Vikings team is better. They've done this without Justin Jefferson. All of their games have been very close, just like they were last season. It's just they haven't been able to finish them. Last season, you just got to admit that the way that season ended, that this team was a bit lucky. I know it's hard to be lucky in the National Football League, but they were a bit lucky last year. So, the Minnesota Vikings did a lot. Kirk Cousins played phenomenal in this game. TJ Hawkinson, if he just had like 2 more catches or a catch and like 10 yards, I would have won in fantasy. Sadly, that didn't happen. I lost by like 2 points to drop to 2-5 in one of my leagues, which was unfortunate, but that's neither here nor there. TJ Hawkinson played a great game, and the Vikings, big upset win over the Niners. For that, they deserve to come all the way up above all these teams and into the playoffs here in the NFC. And when Justin Jefferson gets back, this offense can even get better because they're figuring some things out right now. All right, moving on, we have number 15, the New York Jets, going on the bye week. They're going to be staying there at 15. Number 14, we have the Chargers dropping down a spot here, only a spot. I just think this Chargers team is so frustrating right now because this team is talented enough to get more wins, but they're 2-4 right now. Their 4 losses have came against really solid football teams. Don't get me wrong; they beat a team like the Vikings earlier this season as well. The Chargers. They should have a better record though. This team just needs to figure things out. Brandon Staley comes into this game and puts together an atrocious game plan to try and stop Patrick Mahomes. It just didn't work out. You got to do better than that. You can't be trying these Vic Fangio defenses against Mahomes anymore. It's just not going to work out against Mahomes. He's just too smart for that. It used to, but it doesn't really anymore. So the Chargers need to figure that out. Honestly, if Brandon Staley loses to the Bears, he should be out of there. This team's just too talented. Justin Herbert, I think he's got to give some of the blame too right now. He hasn't been on top of his game. Kind of been struggling in big game moments. Haven't been able to finish things off. So Chargers are a frustrating team. Honestly, I think they're better than what their record says, but they just haven't been able to win football games. And it's not like I'm expecting them to win some of these games like against the Cowboys, the Chiefs, but still, they should win at least some of those. So the Chargers coming at 2-4, they haven't really shown that they can beat any team that's above them yet. So Chargers, they've been hovering, I think they've been 12 to start of the year, been kind of staying at 13, 14, so they haven't had that massive drop. If they lose to the Bears, it might be coming. Okay, number 13, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Going to be swapping here with the Chargers. Big week to get things figured out on offense on the bye week. They look much better with Kenny Pickett and this offense. And Deontay Johnson is coming back from IR this week, which is big, I think, for Pittsburgh and that Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Much better improvement this week against the Rams. And then the defense, we know what that defense is. They ate up that Rams front O-line. So the Steelers get a big win. I expected that to happen. Not a lot. A lot of people counted out Mike Tomlin in that game. I expected the Steelers to win, and they got it done. So the Steelers going to come in at 13. Okay, number 12, we have the Bengals coming off the bye week. I think this is a big bye week for the Bengals to get Joe Burrow healthy, T. Higgins healthy, and some of these other players. So that's all I'm going to talk about. The Bengals, coming off the bye, they're going to be staying at 12. Number 11, dropping down 4 spots, guys. We have the Buffalo Bills. And with this team just being so inconsistent, I just can't put this team in the contenders tier anymore. I just can't sugarcoat it. Buffalo has not been they've been a good team at times this season, but they've also been, honestly not a really good team. About a decent to bad team, honestly. We know what this team is capable of because for a few weeks there they looked like contenders, but they have not lived up to that right now the past couple of weeks. So the Bills, I just can't put a team that's that inconsistent in the contenders tier right now. And Josh Allen and the Bills are going to find themselves in the playoffs tier, which is unfortunate because we know this roster talent. Injuries have to do with it as well on the offense and the defensive side. But the Buffalo Bills, just a very bad loss to the Patriots this week, and we know that the Patriots aren't a great football team. And then last week, almost lost again. Imagine this team at 3-4 right now, because they probably should be. They deserve to lose that Giants game. There's a lot of things that could have gone the Giants' way. Bills got kind of lucky in that one. But that's going to be the Buffalo Bills at number 11. Really need to figure things out right now. I still believe in that team. I just don't know about it, though. All right, then number 10, we have the Cleveland Browns jumping up a spot. The Browns this week, handling their business. The defense didn't look as dominant this week as we've seen, but especially the secondary, the D-line did their part. Myles Garrett had an amazing game, looking like the defensive player of the year right now. But yeah, the secondary wasn't great, honestly, against the Colts. Really didn't play great in that game. But yeah, we know this defense is that. I think that's probably going to be one of their worst games this season. They'll be back, and they were able to get the win somehow in this weird game because we were expecting much more of a low-scoring game here, and then we got 39-38. Obviously, the Deshaun Watson stuff is just weird at this point. I have no idea what's going on with him, and that's another reason why I just don't see the Browns as a contender right now is because Watson's just been playing bad football lately. So, and really just doesn't seem like he wants to be out there. It seems like he's been hiding in the bench for a lot of this time. So the Browns going to come in at number 10. Okay, now we're into the contenders tier. Jumping up a spot, we have the Jaguars because of the Bills. Jaguars get the win against the Saints this week. Handle their business. Trevor Lawrence and the defense played good. The Jaguars are the same team, I think. I did a week ago. So good win for the Jaguars on the road on a primetime game. That's what you like to see if you're a Jaguars fan. But then number 8, we have the Lions dropping down 2 spots. Just did not look like the Lions team we've been seeing this season. This looked like the old Lions where this team just gets obliterated every week. That was just a bad performance from top to bottom from Detroit. Offensively, they could not get anything going to start up this game. Defensively, they let Lamar Jackson throw all over them. So that's been an outlier game all year for the Lions. I think that's going to be an outlier game going forward because that was just a weird game for the Lions. So I'm not going to take too much stock in that. They do deserve to come down because of that performance. But, yeah, just a weird game. We'll see how they look next week. And give credit to the Ravens. They played really good in that game as well. Okay, number 7, we have the Seattle Seahawks jumping up a spot, getting the win over the Cardinals. I'm still a little bit worried about this offense right now. Geno Smith's kind of putting the ball in harm's way. And they just need to be better than that offensively. We know that this offense is talented. Defensively, losing Uchenna Nwosu is a big hit to this defensive line, which has been really good this season. Now you really need players like Boya Mafi's been playing really good this season. Derek Hall, the rookie, Daryl Taylor. We need these guys to step up for Seattle, but yeah, my opinion doesn't change on the Seahawks. We just need to figure some things out on the offense. As a Seahawks fan, I still very much believe in this team, and I think they deserve to come ahead of the Lions. A team, the Seahawks, remember, beat the Lions earlier this year too, so that's another reason why Seattle's above them at this point. So the Seahawks coming in at 7. Then we have 6, the Cowboys on bye, dropping down a spot because I think the number 5 team, the Baltimore Ravens, deserves to come ahead of them, jumping up 4 spots. Absolutely dominant performance from the Ravens this week. Just absolutely crushed the Lions in all 3 phases of the game. And yeah, Lamar Jackson looked dominant. The defense looked dominant. Some of the weapons are getting back for Baltimore. OBJ. So the Ravens, man, you got to be happy with the way that team played. This team's been a little bit inconsistent so far this season. It's good to see them get that dominant win against the Lions. And now the Ravens, they're going to be a very scary team this season. Okay, then number 4, dropping down 3 spots, the Niners. As a Seahawks fan, thank goodness the Niners are struggling right now because I was putting this team at 1 for a while there. The Niners right now, Brock Purdy hasn't looked great, especially this game against the Vikings. He threw 2 interceptions that really cost him the game at the end there. So the concerns about Brock Purdy kind of coming up again. He's not a perfect quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback by any means, though. He's still a decent QB. It seems like Trent Williams being out is a big factor, as well as Deebo Samuel. They need to get those guys healthy. And then the defense in this game, just uncharacteristic. Let Kirk Cousins throw all over them. It just wasn't the Niners' defense in that game. So, the Browns game, I thought they played well, but yeah, this was not it for the Niners' defense. So the Niners, they deserve to come down here. They've lost 2 straight. They deserve to be 4 at this point, I think. But then number 3, we have the Dolphins dropping down a spot. Taking a loss to the Eagles, I think is fine. They were on the road. The refs kind of gave the Eagles some things there in that game that really didn't bounce the Dolphins' way. Tua does make a poor decision, throws a pick when they were trying to tie the game in the 4th quarter. Other than that, Tua played really good. The offense played really good. The defense, there's some concerns there, obviously. Let Jalen Hurts throw all over them, which Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. That's going to happen at times. But still, it's happened the past few weeks. So there's some concerns there about the defense. But, yeah, the Dolphins dropping down to 3. But, yeah, the Dolphins are still the Dolphins right now. So they're a very scary team. I'm not too worried about them as I am with, the Niners, potentially. But then number 2, jumping up 2 spots, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-1. Chiefs, dominant win this week against the Chargers. The defense continues to play their best football right now. They've really invested in this defense. It's getting overlooked. They're playing really good, and Patrick Mahomes and this offense is doing just enough with Travis Kelce and the limited weapons he has. When you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, it's enough. So that's why they have really invested in this defense. And this defense is one of the most underrated ones in the league. They're playing really good. That's been one of the stars of this roster. So I really like where the Chiefs are headed on that side. The Chiefs finally get a good defense. That's just trouble right there, for especially come playoffs time. So the Chiefs come in at number 2. Number 1, we have the Philadelphia Eagles jumping up 2 spots. Jalen Hurts, just a dominant week, bounce back week after that atrocious performance against the Jets. The offense really played well. Like I said, the refs kind of helped them out in this game, but they deserved to win this game either way. They were the better team. The defense got back to doing some really good things against a really good Dolphins offense. So the Eagles at this point deserve to be the one. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the content. Comment down below your thoughts and power rankings. Anyway, guys, peace out.